This story is for entertainment purposes only. Our story begins in 1783, after the American independence, where people from Britain, they came to America, and they were British and from different countries. And then by the end of the war, which is also known as the Revolutionary War, America gained its independence to be free, making a declaration of independence. And we begin in old America. Well, we begin in the first year of American white history, on its independence. This was after the very first Independence Day. So, after the Revolutionary War, also known as the War of Independence, a man who had fought in that war, named William Morris, from the Continental Army, he builds up a burning desire to own a ship, or to buy a ship. He didn't have the money, maybe he didn't really have the money, but whilst he was in that war, or wherever he was, he was just desiring this journey. He was sleeping, eating, dreaming this journey. So Mr. William Morris, he gathered a crew of gentlemen that he fought with in the Revolutionary War, with the intention of setting sail to Antarctica. Now, he didn't care all the day of going into the cold seas, and the distance and the time it would take to sail there, because they didn't have engine boats. You must remember, imagine now that you're living in the 17th century, 1783. There's no such thing as metal boats. This is before the Titanic. This is where all boats are wooden. Imagine you're stepping now on the wooden decks of the boat, and it's all sail. The sails become full with the wind. So he didn't care about the cost, he just had to have that ship. He needed a ship. He didn't just want a ship, he needed a ship. So every night before he went to sleep, he pretended that he had, in his imagination, this ship. So, anyway, he gathered a crew, the people that he fought with in the Revolutionary War, the War of Independence, men that he was friends with, and because they had decent experience. One day, and he trusted them, mainly he trusted them. One day before the journey, the captain, he hired a captain and some crew. The captain is nowhere to be found. Captain's done one, chickened it, I don't know why. So he gathers the crew and explains, look men, he's done one, so I'm still going on this trip because nothing can stop me from my burning desire, from my one true dream. So I'm still going. I'm going to do it, but it might be delayed. Anyway, on November the 14th, I think it was November the 14th, 1783, currently, they were supposed to take off and set sail from America. Well, the country that had just been that year named as America. It was the first year of America. The captain, however, Captain Butler, the name of the captain is Captain Butler. The Captain Butler, however, did turn up. The guy that he hired to be captain did turn up on the day of the trip. Perhaps he was just, presumably, put my feet in his shoes. Presumably, he just wants to get some action and, touch the land and get, he's not gonna be at land for many months. Imagine you're going to sea for months at a time. What are you gonna do if you know that you're gonna be at sea for months and months at a time? You just obviously gonna, do what you can on the land before you. This Captain Butler, he turned up on the day of the trip, when the trip was supposed to set off. He turned up. at the port, with all the wooden buildings and the wooden pubs and the wooden things, because all the buildings were mainly made out of wood anyway. And he had maps and provisions. So he got hold of maps. This was at a time, currently, when maps were a physical thing that you had to carry in your pocket and fold up. So they sailed on the day they were supposed to sail on. So they set sail from the east, the east coast of America. American independence from Great Britain. Because at that time, it was just 13 colonies. America was only 13 colonies at that time. So they boarded their ship and they set sail with provisions. They got the mast up and they scrubbed the poop deck and off they went. And the fair winds on the east coast of America took them sailingly, with the sound of the ruffle of the wind in the sails. It took them with the sea besides, the sea and the waves moving besides the ship. It took them down the coast of Miami, which would be Miami, and it took them beyond. And at that time, there was only 13 colonies in America, so they reached some port in South America after some time, because they didn't have an engine, as at this point in time, engines hadn't been invented. So they reached the South America, stating in this book, and by the way, this story is from a book. The book that this story is from, I don't know if this story is true or not, but this story is from a book called El Navegante que cruzó las murallas de Helio, mundos detrás de la Antártida, which translates to the navigator that crossed the ice walls, worlds behind the Antarctica. So, the navigator that crossed the ice walls. On Game of Thrones, apparently, I haven't watched it, but on Game of Thrones there is ice walls. So they do take stuff from somewhere. So it just makes you think. I'm not saying this is true, I'm not saying what shape the world is, I'm not interested in any of that. This is just for entertainment purposes only. Anyway, apparently, according to this book, they got to South America, and in the book they stated how hot it was. So that just proves they've been there, because it's hot. So the captain laughs and remarks. So the captain laughs at the crew and laughs with the crew and says, "Enjoy as you can, because it's about to get very cold, my good men. Enjoy this South American weather whilst you can. Enjoy South America whilst you can." So they persist. And they just persist. And eventually, and they do reach Antarctica. They describe that some portions of this continent, that there are up to 90 meters high walls covered in ice and snow. So whoever built these walls with huge bricks, 90 meters high, super thick walls, which in English we're talking about almost 300 feet high, 295 feet high, up to 290 feet high walls. So that's some tall walls. Covered in all that. So to perspectively, the Burj Khalifa, which is supposed to be the tallest building, is 828 meters tall, which is 2,717 feet tall, which, if that did exist. But still, these ice walls are pretty tall for currently, considering that currently it's 1783. It's 300 feet tall is still, you know, tall, and they're covered in ice and they're super massive, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on. You know, these walls apparently much longer than the Great Wall of China, but covered in snow. So it's anyway, the captain that Williams hired is called Butler. So possibly Gerard Butler? I don't know. It's almost as if the captain, Butler, has done this voyage many times before. It's like he knows what to expect. He knows the game. He's got experience. He's calm. So, to paint a beautiful picture, here we are in Antarctica, super cold whales about. You know, them narwhals, possibly whales about, blue whales, sperm whales, and, you know, massive ice walls covered in ice. So this Butler is the captain, the hired captain, Captain Butler. He sailed the ship right besides this towering wall. Imagine looking up, you're on this wooden ship with sails in Antarctica, and imagine looking up and these huge, almost 300 feet high walls, oh my god, right next to the boat. And the boat's like creaking along, just sailing along. And all the crew, and you're so serene, because, you know, you've done this before, but the crew is like panicking because they don't want the boat to hit the walls, because they don't want to break the boat, and they don't want to freeze to death in the water. So, you know what you don't want, but now what do you want? So, anyway, Captain Butler is very calm, as if he's done this many times before. So he sails the ship right besides these towering walls covered in ice. Remember, this is months later. Started from America, and it took them months of sailing to get down to Antarctica. They began the cruise in November. They began in November from America, the new land of America, and now it's summer. So much of the ice now in Antarctica has melted because it is summer. Not it's just because it's summertime. A current in the water, if you look at the water besides our ship, besides our wooden ship, the water is so icy and, you know, moving, and in the water it's got currents, and this current besides the ship pulls them through. This current takes the ship, and this current takes the ship right near, not touching, but near the ice wall, and this current takes them through a gap in the ice wall, in the massive wall. And this current actually changes the direction of the ship, and it makes the ship change direction gently, and this current takes the ship smooth sailing right through this, you know, gap in the ice wall, and the ship straightens out. Oh, what a relief. It takes them through safely. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Keep safe. They were through. Oh, thank God. They got through the Great Gates Passage. Or various gates. There's various gates, regardless what shape the world is. Apparently, there possibly is. They say, well, many people say, there are various passageways, gates, out of Antarctica, if that's the case. And these various gates, and apparently they went through cold, because in the winter, obviously it's frozen over, but because it's summertime, the ice is melted, and it lets them through. So they are through. That's it. We're through. We're in. And as soon as they have gone through this gate, as soon as we've come through this gate with towering walls on either side of us, as soon as our boat has sailed safely through it, the ship, the new water is black. No sooner they get through the gates, they see a massive mass coming towards them from the horizon. Look towards the horizon and they see the massive thing coming towards them. Something bigger than any ship that they've ever seen. And it's made of a material that they've never seen before. From steel or something. Because ships are not made from metal, you know. They're all wooden. So as soon as they come through these ice walls, they see this. They look on the horizon. The sea is the sea color. It's a new sea, and it's black sea. And they see this massive thing steaming straight for them, and it's a thing they've never seen before that glistens in the sun. You know, it's a steel ship or a metal ship, which they've never seen a metal ship in their life. Ahead, Captain Butler remained calm. Because he's done this journey, he must have done this journey so many times, and he knows the score. Because Captain Butler, he knows the end result. To our ultimate advantage. He knows the end result is a good one. To our advantage, so therefore, he remains calm. Almost as if he knew something that the crew didn't. So the crew don't know the score. They've lived all their lives in the 17th century. In wooden houses, you know, in this new America, and they've come to Antarctica, the crew, and they're panicking. They've never seen a metal ship before, and it's massive, and it's coming straight towards them. And this thing ain't stopping. It's just ploughing straight towards them, like a mechanical thing that floats on the water. It's ploughing straight towards the wooden ship, the big wooden ship. And this thing's massive, bigger than any wooden ship. And then they hear a thing that they never thought they would have heard in the loudspeaker. Massive loudspeaker horn from this metal ship says, "We're coming aboard." They've never heard a horn before, or a loudspeaker, or a speaker system before. You know, they've lived in the forests and that. They don't have no idea. Because this year is the 1700s, you know. So all technology comes from, personally, I would say all this technology comes from somewhere. Where does our technology, we've got to ask the question, where's our technology coming from? Is it coming from somewhere else and, you know, we're just taking it and bringing it to our countries? That's my opinion. Anyway, these people board the ship. They board the wooden ship. They get off their metal ship and they board this wooden ship. And they look exactly like normal human beings. These people that live beyond the ice wall. They come off their metal boat. They park up next to our wooden ship, and they board our ship, and they look like normal humans. And they're good, they're kind, they're considerate, full of empathy. Anyway, these people from beyond the ice wall, they claim to come from a land called the Ancestral Republic. They said it's been some time, you might say, years, since people came here on ships from the known lands. The known lands means our Earth. So the known lands means the Earth. They say that they are at war with a section of giants. So be careful, mind your course. Here, they give them a map. They say, here you go, you scallywags, here's a map. And they give them clear instructions to stick to this course and you'll be okay. If you arrived beyond the ice walls, at any other time, we would have traditionally greeted you like royalty. And shown you advancements in technology that you've never seen before. So these are nice people living beyond the ice wall. They look like humans, look like normal people, but they've got more advanced technology and more empathy and, you know, such. Possibly more empathy. Not necessarily more empathy, but they follow the course. Anyway, these people that have come in the wooden boat, they follow the course. They take the map, and the map takes them to this land called the Ancestral Republic. So they see for the very first time in their lives with their eyes skyscrapers, massive ones, electric lights. For the first time they see electric lighting and modern technology. As they get off the ship, off the wooden ship, they are courteously escorted by a guide to the presidential building. Because, anytime you go beyond the ice wall, the current takes you there gently out of the summer gates, and obviously there's people there in a metal boat waiting to celebrate you and treat you like celebrities and you to the land and give you all technology, modern technology, and like treat you like a king, treat you like royalty, apparently. So Cook heads off with the people of the Ancestral Republic, and he leaves the 17th century crew behind. Now Williams, the owner of the ship, is then escorted kindly and respectfully with honours to the presidential office, like the president's. It's like equivalent of similar to the White House, but of a country beyond the ice wall. And the president is called Fayak. I think the president's name is Fayak. So this story is just for entertainment purposes only. I'm not saying what shape the world is. I don't care, really, what shape the world is. The key in life is to care, but not that much. So President Fayak tells Williams... Williams is from the 17th century. President Fayak tells Williams, "We are your ancestors." So you always wanted to know, Ancestry.com, who your ancestors are. Well, or where did the Vikings, where did your ancestors go? Well, apparently they went beyond on ships to lands, prosperous lands beyond the ice wall, apparently, according to this. Anyway, President Fayak tells Williams, according to this book, "We are your ancestors, but alive. Yes, we are your blood ancestors, but we didn't die. Instead of dying, we just went on ships beyond the ice wall, as you do. You are descendants from us. You see, many years ago, before a great reset," whatever the great reset is, who knows what it is, God knows. I don't think it's a flood. Could be Noah's flood. I don't think so. I think it's just a great reset, like a Mandela effect or something. I don't know. Anyway, President Fayak, who's the president beyond the ice wall, he tells Williams, "Look, we are your ancestors. Literally, we are your blood ancestors. But we didn't die. No, we just went on these ships. And we're living long time. And we're still alive. We're living long time. We're living 200 years easily, apparently. So, you are descendant from us. Many years ago, before a great reset, giants came to planet Earth and they liberated our people. Because they were good giants. There's good and bad giants, as you possibly may have guessed. There are good and bad giants. Anyway, these good giants proved that they were good, and they liberated our... you see all these hieroglyphics, with giants on the hieroglyphics, and then you see tiny people on the hieroglyphics, and you see giants and people living together in harmony in the Egyptian hieroglyphics. Well, apparently that was true, and that giants came to our world from beyond the ice walls. They came to our planet, our lands, our countries, to many countries, and they liberated our people, and they brought us to this land beyond the ice wall, which is called the Ancestral Republic lands. And the giants, they came from beyond the ice walls, the good giants, to help mankind and liberate mankind, because they were empathetic and very kind. They're very kind, empathetic, caring and stuff. Very good people, despite the fact that they are giants, literally some 20 foot tall, whatever, some 12 foot tall, whatever. So, and they want, and you know, they didn't want our civilization, or human civilization, to be more or less wiped out. So, whether this was in the time of the flood, of Noah, or some other time, some great reset, I don't know what the great reset is. So, the fire basically explained to Williams apparently some kind of true history that they don't want you to know. So he's telling this story, and Williams looks up. So look up, you're in the presidential suite, look up, and there is spheres. You look beyond the windows, and there is spheres in the sky. There are spheres in the sky, like UFOs. So for the first time, Williams looks up, and you look up, and you see UFOs in the sky, as you do. Spherical ones, flying towards the city. So and you're watching, something falls out. So Williams was watching, and something falls out of the sphere, UFO. And Williams has never seen anything like this before, because he's from the 1700s, and they had no idea of this technology. And he's looking up at something, and all of a sudden, something drops out of the UFO, and it goes kaboom! A bomb levels a big portion of the city. Another sphere shows up, you know, and just boom! Another bomb. People are fleeing. People are running, fleeing, you know, crying, and angry. A mixture of angry and crying. A bit of anger. A bit of crying. And the people are running, and, you know, the humans are running. And they're all pushing into the presidential building because it's fortified. The presidential building is fortified. It's like bomb-proof. So he says, basically, in the book, it says that Williams says he can remember at this challenging time, at this most opportune time, at this challenging time, when they were experiencing this upset, Williams, that he can remember the love and the care and the empathy and compassion and the selfishness that people still had for each other, because it was a land where people didn't take selfies. It was a land where people got pleasure out of doing good deeds and serving other people, and, you know, being good people and being kind to other people in this world. It made people feel good, and that's how people got their good kicks and good feelings, by doing kindly good deeds and such, and being kind, and imagination control and all that stuff. Anyway, so he said, on reflection, that the composure of the citizens of this place, their composure in this situation, despite what was going on around them, was extraordinary. And the people were still full of selflessness, still full of empathy, and they helped each other, and they needed to help each other, and they helped their fellow men and women and children first, and their character was par excellence. They had proper character. Proper characters. I can't confirm that this story is true or not, but it's just a story from a book. Anyway, so basically, as if the education system that they had in this country made them empathetic. It was as if the people did, when these UFOs were dropping bombs on the people acted in such a selfless, empathetic way, as if the education system taught them to treat challenges as opportunities. To treat challenges as opportunities to show care and to help each other, as if the education system made people empathetic and really brought that good nature out of people, and to help each other automatically. As if it was an education system that wasn't built on memorising so-called facts and figures, but it was like a humanitarian education system. As if there was humanity, not nationalism or self-preservation. It was like people were acting like proper humans. Anyway, then the next thing that Williams saw, apparently, is a blue triangle craft, like a spaceship, but in a triangle-shaped craft, in coloured blue, flying over even faster. Phew, 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 just flying in the sky. He saw these triangle shaped flying crafts in the air, which are blue triangles flying in the air. Triangular shaped craft. And basically, these triangle shaped craft flew even quicker than the UFOs, and they shot the UFOs and spheres down out of the sky. Modern technology, enlightenment, or whatever it was. So anyway, William Morris, he's seen all this, blue triangle craft fighting the UFO giant craft. So William Morris is naturally inquisitive, which is a good thing, to be curious, to ask questions, to make comments. He was told when he asked, that the normal sized humans here for over 1,000 years or more, right, outside the ice walls, beyond the ice walls at this ancestral republic, they were much more technologically advanced, and some people are just living, for 200 years, getting on for 200 years. Some people were just, apparently, according to the book, some people were living 200 years. All the while, the Captain Butler seems to be highly adjusted and accustomed to all his surroundings. I think, in my opinion, that he was from the lands beyond the ice wall, the ancestral republic, and that he ventured out into our world for a holiday or something, or to show, the people of our world that there's more to life. That there's more to life, and there's more to this world. There's just more to life. There's more. There must be. Sometimes you must ask yourself, there must be more to life, and there must be more to this world than what we get told. Or Butler, Captain Butler had just fought in the Revolutionary War of Independence in America. So he was in the known lands of our Earth. He's seen an air of confidence, a suaveness of charm. As captain of the Hellman crew, Butler is working with residents of the Ancestral Republic, which, according to this story, is one of the lands beyond Antarctica. Maybe that's one of the places. Personally, they did say, if you think about it, did you hear that a few years ago in time, Senator John Kerry, he went to visit John Kerry, what's his job? John Kerry has a job of visiting the heads of states of different countries. So why did John Kerry go to, if you research it, I'll make a video, why did John Kerry go to visit Antarctica? Because his job is only to visit the heads of states and to do transactions and such. So why did he go to Antarctica? Anyway, back to the story. Butler tells Williams, Captain Butler tells William Morris, I will explain some things to you later. Take a break. There's too much information for you. Take a break, have a sleep. Rest. So he finds a room in the strong, fortified presidential building and rests and goes to sleep. So it's been a big adventure for Williams' discovery. Williams was nodding, so Williams was told to go for a sleep. You've had a long day, pal, so good, have a nice sleep. So he went off for a little sleep, and and he was nodding off because he's seen a lot. He's just Captain Williams. He's travelled from America. He's fought in the American Revolution, 1700s. He sailed for months down past South America, down to Antarctica, which is the bottom of South America, and then he's gone through this passageway, blah blah blah. He's come to another land apparently, and he's seen some UFOs and fighting. He's seen some nice community of people, and he's seen all this. So he's had a good day, and now he's gone to sleep in the presidential building. Imagine sleeping in the presidential building, yeah. So, but then, as he was nodding off, suddenly Captain Butler comes back to him and orders him assertively, tells Williams, get out of bed, we've got to go now. Got to do it now. Okay. So, up and at them. As they're leaving the presidential building, as you're walking out of the presidential building, once there was thousands of, people moving and bustling, and you can hear thousands of people moving and bustling and stepping and walking about the place, and all that chatter, and all the footsteps and all the blah, 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 people. There's so many voices echoing around, and it was like that. But now, on the way out of this presidential building, it's empty. It's like empty. It's like fully evacuated, deserted. So his crew, so Captain Williams gets outside of the presidential building, and he sees his crew. So Butler didn't look back. He just keeps on walking forward, marching forward, because he knew his men would follow him. He knew he would be followed. He knew his loyal men would follow him. But, would follow Butler. So Butler Captain marched forwards, and his men had to walk fast to keep up, because he was walking fast. And as the crew were walking, following Captain Butler, who was marching off, they were looking at the sights, smelling the smells in the air, looking at the sights to the left and right. As they were following him, as they were walking very quick, they were looking at the sights and sounds and colours to the left, smelling everything and taking in the sights and the sounds. So, very good. So one thing they noted about the ancestral land was how serene it was, besides the temporary bombing, besides the temporary bombing, how serene and lovely it was. How the people cultivated a feeling of gratitude, daily gratitude a day or something, and love, and how the people were so loving and felt really, loved themselves, and how courteous they were. And the vehicles were so serene as well, and electric vehicles apparently there in the 1700s. So there was no noisy horses or carriages. Imagine noisy because in 17th century in America it's all horses and carriages, isn't it now? Because that's the day and age it was. So there was no noisy horses and carriages and horses shitting, and there was no noisy people going, Squire, I'll do you. There was none of that. There was no rude shouting. There was no, I'll give it to you. Yeah, come on. There was none of that. There was no rude shouting. There was no uncouth behaviour. There was no out for yourself type of mentality. No. There was no in it for a dollar mentality. Kind and nurturing and kind and loving and laughing and smiling. Anyway. So just imagine seeing these blue triangle shaped craft floating in the sky, travelling super quick, supersonic, and shooting down these UFOs. Just imagine seeing that. And, these blue triangle crafts are the good guys, basically. And the giants are in the spherical UFOs, and the humans are in the blue triangle craft ships, flying things. So basically, these craft are humans. These triangle craft are humans, and they are our ancestors flying them. So the triangle-shaped craft are the good guys. A portion of the city is wrecked. Remarks, what was that? President Fayek says, can you believe that? It was the same damn people that liberated us in the first place, apparently. A group of giants. Initially, when they liberated us humans, they went against someone. So back then, they were preoccupied, in history, apparently, according to this history, back then they were preoccupied with another war, the giants. So it enabled the good giants to come to our world and help some of mankind with technologies that they gave to the ancient Egyptians, fantastic future technologies, and giants and people, and short people, and giants, and liberated the original ancestral republic beyond the ice wall. But by doing that and helping mankind, the good giants got told off, got a slap on the wrist, and they were attacked by an evil faction. They were attacked by the faction that they betrayed, basically. So the bad giants, so there's good and bad giants. So the bad giants that were in charge at the time, they didn't like this. They saw the of the ancestral republic as not worthy of, modern technology, enlightenment, or whatever it was. So anyway, William Morris, he's seen all this, blue triangle craft fighting the UFO giant craft. So William Morris is naturally inquisitive, which is a good thing, to be curious, to ask questions, to make comments. He was told when he asked, that the normal sized humans here for over 1,000 years or more, right, outside the ice walls, beyond the ice walls at this ancestral republic, they were much more technologically advanced and Some people are just living, for 200 years. Getting on for 200 years. Some people were just, apparently, according to the book, some people were living 200 years. All the while, the Captain Butler seems to be highly adjusted and accustomed to all his surroundings. I think, in my opinion, that he was from the lands beyond the ice wall, the ancestral republic, and that he ventured out into our world for a holiday or something, or to show, the people of our world there's more to life. That there's more to life, and there's more to this world. There's just more to life. There's more. There must be. Sometimes you must ask yourself, there must be more to life, and there must be more to this world than what we get told. Butler, Captain Butler had just fought in the Revolutionary War of Independence in America. So he was in the known lands of our Earth. He seemed an air of confidence, a suaveness of charm. As captain of the Hellman crew, Butler is working with residents of the Ancestral Republic, which, according to this story, is one of the lands beyond Antarctica. Maybe that's one of the places. Personally, they did say, if you think about it, did you hear that a few years ago in time, Senator John Kerry, he went to visit, John Kerry, what's his job? John Kerry has a job of visiting the heads of states of different countries. So why did John Kerry go to, if you research it, I'll make a video, why did John Kerry go to visit Antarctica? Because his job is only to visit the heads of states and to do transactions and such. So why did he go to Antarctica? Anyway, back to the story. Butler tells Williams, Captain Butler tells William Morris, I will explain some things to you later. Take a break. There's too much information for you. Take a break, have a sleep. Rest. So he finds a room in the strong, fortified presidential building and rests and goes to sleep. So it's been a big adventure for Williams' discovery. Williams was nodding, so Williams was told to go for a sleep. You've had a long day, pal, so good, have a nice sleep. So he went off for a little sleep, and he was nodding off because he's seen a lot. He's just Captain Williams. He's travelled from America. He's fought in the American Revolution, 1700s. He sailed for months down past South America, down to Antarctica, which is the bottom of South America, and then he's gone through this passageway, blah blah blah. He's come to another land apparently, and he's seen some UFOs and fighting. He's seen some nice community of people, and he's seen all this. So he's had a good day, and now he's gone to sleep in the presidential building. Imagine sleeping in the presidential building, yeah. So, but then, as he was nodding off, suddenly Captain Butler comes back to him and orders him assertively, tells Williams, get out of bed, we've got to go now. Got to do it now. Okay. So, up and at them. As they're leaving the presidential building, as you're walking out of the presidential building, once there was thousands of, people moving and bustling, and you can hear thousands of people moving and bustling and stepping and walking about the place, and all that chatter, and all the footsteps and all the blah, 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 people, there's so many voices echoing around, and it was like that. But now, on the way out of this presidential building, it's empty. It's like empty. It's like fully evacuated, deserted. So his crew, so Captain Williams gets outside of the presidential building, and he sees his crew. So Butler didn't look back. He just keeps on walking forward, marching forward, because he knew his men would follow him. He knew he would be followed. He knew his loyal men would follow him. But, would follow Butler. So Butler Captain marched forwards, and his men had to walk fast to keep up, because he was walking fast. And as the crew were walking, following Captain Butler, who was marching off, they were looking at the sights, smelling the smells in the air, looking at the sights to the left and right. As they were following him, as they were walking very quick, they were looking at the sights and sounds and colours to the left, smelling everything and taking in the sights and the sounds. So, very good. So one thing they noted about the ancestral land was how serene it was, besides the temporary bombing. How serene and lovely it was. How the people cultivated a feeling of gratitude, daily gratitude a day or something, and love, and how the people were so loving and felt really, loved themselves, and how courteous they were. And the vehicles were so serene as well, and electric vehicles apparently there in the 1700s. So there was no noisy horses or carriages. Imagine noisy because in 17th century in America, it's all horses and carriages, isn't it now? Because that's the day and age it was. So there was no noisy horses and carriages and horses shitting, and there was no noisy people going, Squire, I'll do you. There was none of that. There was no rude shouting. There was no, I'll give it to you. Yeah, come on. There was none of that. There was no rude shouting. There was no uncouth behaviour. There was no out for yourself type of mentality. No. There was no in it for a dollar mentality. Kind and nurturing and kind and loving and laughing and smiling. Anyway. So the following Butler marching out of the presidential building, and they're looking at these new sights that they've never seen before. Just imagine looking at these sights and sounds, colours, smells, smell of the air, and looking at these things besides you, seeing the sights and the praise. So basically, they follow Butler, Captain Butler, mingle shape or craft. So they go and they just watch. They just watched us beat the giants. The crew have never seen a flying craft like this at all before. But they curiously follow their Captain Butler onto the triangle blue ship. The hatch closes. And it hums, and we're floating, and it floats up. And we're on this blue, we're inside this blue triangle UFO ship. And And the ancestral lands folk they have a look. They're on the craft with us. They're like our friends, and they have a look. They have that look with Butler. They give Butler the eye. They give you the eye. The look of love. That eye, because they and Butler know crew are not used to this speed. So sat there in this ship, floating away in this triangle blue ship, UFO, and it darts off like... It darts off super quick. So William Morris, man from the 1700s, is trying to follow the conversation, but his hearing is going and coming back and forth as he's not used to the speed. He's not used to it. He's not used to going this fast, flying this quick, So they reached the ancestor of the Anakim of... Oh, sorry. They reached this place called... They reached this place called the... They reached the ancient lands of Anak. The ancient... So we reached these ancient lands of Anak, where the people there are called the Anakim, which is basically a land of giants. Giants who are descended from... possibly descended from the giant Noah. If Noah was a giant... well, who cares who they're descended from anyway? The Anakim just feel important. Doesn't matter who your ancestors are. So the Anakim, right, are giants. They allied with mankind in the way past, in Egyptian times and all that stuff, possibly. So the Anunnaki. So these Anunnaki, whoever they are, they apparently enslaved men to mine gold on our earth. So the Anunnaki and this faction called the Kus or Noti, they were at war with each other. So the Anunnaki, Tierras Anunnaki, if you notice, all it's Spanish, isn't it? The Tierras Anunnaki, the Anunnaki and the custodians were at war with each other. And this, which gave the Anakim the chance to liberate the humans of our earth. The Anakim were destroying pyramids, which were all over in all different countries on our earth. There was pyramids on all different countries, and these the Anakim giants, who were our friends, they were destroying. When they came to help us on our earth, they were destroying all these pyramids, which they believed could be triggered to make cataclysms. These pyramids were all neutralized. Have you noticed there's pyramids in almost so many different countries around the world? So apparently, according to this book, this storybook, the pyramids were made to, as a bad thing. So, but luckily, the good giants, the Anakim, came round and neutralized every pyramid on Earth, so that they couldn't be used. So they can't be used to make any catastrophes, any cataclysms. So they didn't work anymore. The pyramids didn't work anymore, because apparently these pyramids were placed all over the world and and built under the seas on our earth, and in so many different countries, pyramids were apparently built by evil giants, so they could just trigger them to make cataclysms, to make a great reset. Good giants, the Anakim, or good friendly giants, came round and disinhibited and neutralized and destroyed the mechanism in every single pyramid on our Earth, even the ones under the sea. So the pyramids can't work again. We're evil. So apparently it was some kind of way to control the population. If we bred too much with females, if we made the population too big, it would be control the population, just like Bill Gates said that he would like to control the population of Earth. You know, that's another thing. Have you heard about what Bill Gates had said that as well? Bill Gates had said that there is a monument in America. I want to get a picture of it, and it says on that not the Ten Commandments, but it says 10 things that the bad people would like to achieve. And on that monument Bill Gates went to, it does say something about controlling the population of our, you know. Anyway, according to this book, there were good and evil giants, you know. Anyway, there are some places that you don't want to be, because our Earth is a fantastic, beautiful, lovely Earth, and there's enough places for us to travel and visit, you know. Just sleep where you want to be. So, in the book, they talk about domes, you know, glass domes over each world. So, there is a dome of glass, and over all the worlds. Apparently, there are all these different, like, worlds. Apparently 178 worlds there might be, and they have domes over them. Then over all of them is a whopper dome. A whopper dome. Massive dome over all the other domes, above which is the physical paradise type of place, apparently. So, in this book, the known lands meet the Anunnaki scum, and custodians lust for power, and they break through any dome over any world. They manage with technology and strength and power to break through any dome, glass dome, over any world. And they can steal resources, and to be, you know, corrupt and to be mischief makers, basically. They did this for thousands of years. You know, breaking into people's domes and entering people's worlds and stealing from them and whatever, stealing resources. They didn't know the Whopper Dome, the dome over all the domes, didn't know how to get out of it. So they worked on this for many years. The custodians and the giants were misguided. They were low vibration. In the realm, meaning everywhere, in the realm, spirituality and being conscious of the creator power, what some people call source, is key throughout the realm. So I'll repeat this. Spirituality, make sure you try and make sure that you're always kind and in a good mood when you wake up. And don't go to sleep except being in a good mood, being kind and thinking good thoughts, and, you know, being very spiritual and all that stuff. Considerate, and, you know, you keep on improving it throughout your life. You can, you know, throughout the realm, spirituality and being aware that you're being watched by some creator or something that some people call source. You know, some power is unlimited power is key throughout the realm. But apparently, the Draconians, and Anunnaki and custodians and Gog were Magog, which is their weakness, apart from their physical strength, is that they're not spiritual. Don't see or kindness so much. Anyway, but they're physically super strong men. They can, you know, they can break through the Great Dome. They did break through the Great Dome. They broke through the greatest dome. Above all the domes, over all the worlds, according to this story, regardless of whether you think the world is, you know, whatever shape, who cares what shape it is. It's just a story. You know, this is, you got to be open-minded. I'm not saying it's one shape or another, the world, I don't really care. There's more important things like being better human beings, being kind, travelling the world. There's more important things. This dome. But the giants, the custodians, you know, the Anunnaki, they broke through the greatest dome. But the first time they sent their people through the biggest dome, which covers the world, as they were trying to get into paradise, or this land of, let's like paradise, the paradise, lower levels of paradise, they got crushed to a pulp for their unbelief, for the lack of spirituality, for their you know, selfishness, for the unhumanitarianismness. Basically, the celestial beings, angels, stopped them from getting in through an opening in the Thunderdome. It's called the Thunderdome. It's actually named the Thunderdome. The Thunderdome is the dome above the earth. So they made a hole in the Thunderdome, and every time they tried to get into the Thunderdome, time and time again, they kept getting the same results. So they tried something different. Every time they tried to send some of their giant people opening in the Thunderdome, you know, that is open. There is a hole in the Thunderdome, which they made. Still there, the hole's still there. You know, always. But every time they tried to get the evil giants through, because they were evil, not spiritual, rushed and they just couldn't get through. Even though the hole was physically big enough for them to get through. You know, the angelic forces didn't allow them through because they weren't good people. So they fought, these giants fought, custodians fought, if we can't do it, if we can't get into paradise, or this perfect place, maybe this being can, maybe another being can, maybe this person can, species can. So they used different species. So they had captives. Apparently they have some captives, and some of mankind, a little bit of mankind they have. So they tried to send different species through the Thunderdome, the hole in the Thunderdome, into paradise, to see who could get into that paradise. Just to see if, you know, like, getting into paradise. But their souls... But what they noticed one thing, when they sent human beings, people from our Earth, through the opening in the Thunderdome, their souls, or their essence, does continue through, apparently, according to their experiments, the giant experiments. So wait a minute. So every time, let's just say this again. Every time the giants tried to get through the Thunderdome into paradise, they couldn't. They would just get crushed because they were not spiritual. They were disbelievers, misguided, you know, just totally selfish, evil tyrants. They couldn't get through. But any time they put human beings from our Earth through the as an experiment through that opening in the Thunderdome, their souls, they noticed the souls of the people continued through. Even if the people's bodies did die, or some of the people's bodies did die, the souls and beings was getting through into paradise through the Thunderdome. And of course, Hillary Rodham Clinton famously did an operation to break through one of the Thunderdomes in Operation Fishball. We might do a video on that if you want it. So anyway, humanity is the only beings that have a possibility of getting into paradise, or this little land above the ultimate dome, above the Thunderdome. So, according to the story, after seeing this, the giants realised, wait a minute, these humans are very special. Wait a minute, the giants realised, we've got huge muscles everywhere. Huge legs, huge back muscles, huge chest muscles everywhere, and we're powerful and massive and scary and all that. But wait a minute, these humans, they're imaginational control. Kind and spiritually enhanced, gifted somehow, spiritually. These humans are very special. So it was scary. This realisation was scary for the giants, because giants get scared as well. Giants do get scared as well, they do as well. So basically it was scary for the giants because they knew that if humanity, like me and you and people from our earth, became spiritually good, continuously increased our character and our spiritual kindness and so on, and imaginational control, so on and so forth, if we became very spiritual and highly good in character, and highly advanced empathy, good people, we could have power over the giants with our spiritual powers. So they were watching over mankind. Anyway, back in the lands of Anak, the Anakim, good giants, while they're in this land of Anak, they met the good giants, the Anakim, and one super beautiful female, baby, one female giant, one beautiful, female giant. She spoke perfect English, so she said basically, come on, I'm taking you out, I'm taking you for a tour, I'm gonna show you a good time. Oh yeah, oh baby. So she speaks perfect English. So she looked after the crew. So Captain Butler was asked by the leader of the Anakim if they would. Captain Butler asked the leader of the Anakim if they would join us in an alliance against the custodian giants, the bad giants. So they initially said no, but in sales tactics, people usually say no 6 times before they say yes. But they said, do you know what? You need to go to the Thoth Islands. The Thoth Islands are islands which float about because they're not connected to bedrock, and they're made from rocks which are porous, which float, and these are islands which are continuously floating islands, the Thoth Islands. So, when you need to go to the Thoth Islands, and you need to seek out this person called the Shenki, he will give you in your hand a book, and in it will tell you of your heritage and the history of mankind and what you need to learn. So they went to the crew and everyone, after talking to this beautiful female giant, having a good time, spending time with her. They went to the islands and they learn about the Pleiades, the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians, who were almost pushed to extinction The Pleiadians were almost pushed to extinction by the custodian giants, bad giants, but they made it. But the Pleiadians made a vow. At that horrific time that didn't seem good, they vowed that this would be to our ultimate advantage. They vowed that we would come back stronger. So basically, what happens according to the book is that the crew stays on these floating Thoth islands for some years to learn to become better in character and personality, and to learn special things, so they could take this knowledge and goodness, good character and things back to America, back to the Earth. So in this book, that's basically the story. It's a story about increasing your morals, because becoming a good person and being a good person, increasing your character, this is a thing you just have to work on throughout your life. Trying to be a kind person and whatever. So in this book, it also talks. I want you to buy this book if you can. See it as an investment. Anytime you're buying a cup of coffee or you're buying a sandwich, you're not actually buying a cup of coffee or a sandwich. You're investing in a sandwich, cup of coffee, investing in the cup of coffee, investing these books, investing these books. It's an investment. The book is called, it's in Spanish. I want you to learn a few words of Spanish, meet up, learn a bit of Spanish. The book is called El Navegante que cruzó las morales de Helio mundos detrás de la Antártida, which translates to the navigator that crossed the ice worlds behind the Antarctic. Worlds behind the Antarctic. Something to think about. I'm not saying you have to believe it. It's just a storybook. Just for entertainment purposes only. We can all get along together. And it's good for the character. It's good for... just makes you think. Just makes the mind work, doesn't it? Makes you wonder. Don't have to believe it, but it's just interesting. Nice fairy tale there. And it's... I'm not saying it's true. If you want to believe it or you don't want to believe it, it's up to you. I'm not saying what shape the world is, who cares, but it's just entertainment, and it's good for the mind to read books. It's good for you to read books. So I would definitely recommend it. Definitely get that book. And help us out, So the book also talks about Admiral Byrd, and how he went to the Antarctic after World War II in Operation High Jump. We can talk more about Operation High Jump in another time. So thank you very much, and like and do subscribe and like. Why not? Doesn't harm anyone. If you enjoyed this, listen to it again. There's lots of visualizations in it. It's for our benefit. Thank you, and good night.